And then... Oh, okay, it's starting. And we're live. Okay, hey Ned, how we doing?
Hello.
All right. So this week we managed, or I managed to figure out that the YouTube has a new live feature that I didn't know about last week. It's related to their new gaming.youtube.com. Okay, hey Ned, how we doing?
Hello.
Oh, I just realized I have this playing somewhere else. Anyway, it's related to their new gaming.youtube.com platform. Supposedly it makes it a lot easier for streamers to start streaming games, but in reality it makes it a lot more annoying for me when I'm trying to start and share to all the social networks without realizing that it's going to cause a problem. So, that was last week. This week, I think I have it all set up. So now the stream is shared to everybody, and I think we are live and good to go. So, how we doing, Ned? How you doing?
Doing good.
I'm
up in the scenic mountains here.
Yep, it's very lovely looking out.
Yes. A lot of people don't realize that Arizona has lots of mountains.
Yeah, I was definitely not aware. Well, maybe I was aware. Arizona is still part of the Rockies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, there you go. Anyway, enough of that crazy talk. This week we're supposed to be talking, I think, about Kodi 16, which is we have Alpha 1 and Alpha 2 announced today. And you, if you haven't seen that, you should check out Kodi.tv, and there's an announcement where we talk about these things. But I figured today we should talk about what's all in that, and then maybe give a brief preview of what we're excited about for the future Kodi Alpha 3 or whatever. So to get started, I guess we can start talking about some of the things we've already talked about in the past. DirectX 11. We've talked about that before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, there's nothing really much to show with regards to DirectX 11. It's just what it is, right? It's, from the user perspective, there's really not that much visually different between Kodi 16 and Kodi 15 with regards to DirectX 11.
I think so, yeah.
All it really does is make it so that some older cards don't break. Some newer cards are actually working, and I think, don't quote me on this, but I think that it's possible now that for Kodi for Windows users can actually get the TV to automatically flip on to 3D mode.
Oh.
I feel like I've heard that before. Don't quote me on that. Maybe if one of you users out there who actually has a 3D TV hooked up to a Windows PC, if you could actually test that and show it working, that'd be really cool. But my understanding is it supposedly works, at least with NVIDIA products, if you have that NVIDIA 3D whatever thing going on. So that's DirectX 11. Interesting, but nothing like groundbreaking. Well, actually, like super groundbreaking, but not like interesting from the user perspective. So I figure let's go into something more interesting, which is 4:3 nonlinear stretching. Which how long do you think people have been asking for nonlinear stretching?
I don't know. Remind me again what it is.
Sure. That's you have like a square video, like a show from the 90s or something. And what it does is it was a very popular thing for a long time, and we just never implemented it in Kodi. What it does is it takes like the center of the image and leaves it alone, and kind of stretches out the edges. So it fills up the entire screen on a 16:9 screen, but everything that's happening in the middle of the action still looks normal. So it's not. I don't know. It just makes it look a little bit better.
Yeah, I thought we already did that. Maybe not.
Well,
it's one of those features that I never really looked into.
Yeah.
So I probably had the wrong impression about it.
Well,
but no, like I can see where that would be useful.
Well, you might be thinking of two things. First, we do have a regular stretching, which just takes the whole 4x3 image and pulls it out to 16:9. But also, this PR for the 4x3 nonlinear stretch, I think has been around forever. I think it's been part of Spiff's thing since like 2013. Yeah. so it's definitely been around for a while. And so now I'm going to show everybody where to go to turn that on. You should definitely check it out for a while, especially if you have old DVDs. All you have to do to turn it on, you can't, I tested this out. It looks like you can't turn it on from just the on-screen display when you're playing a video. So it's a little bit different.
Really?
Yeah, it's a little different that way. What you have to do is go over to System, then Video, and then Playback, and it's listed as Display 4.3 videos as, and then there are a bunch of options. You can do normal, wide zoom, stretch 16:9, stretch 16:9 nonlinear, which is the one we want, or zoom. And that activates the default. So then we can go over to a TV show like... it's real weird. I only have cartoons that are in that aspect ratio anymore. I used to have all the Friends episodes that way, but for some reason I got rid of them. So, like, here's Darkwing Duck. It automatically displays correctly. And it works, it does the job. Especially with cartoons, you absolutely can't tell the stretching's occurring. What next?
Kind of like a peripheral vision kind of a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot like, you know that thing that they do a lot of times in sports videos, I feel like, where it's a 4x3 image, and then instead of stretching it at all, they just repeat the edges on the side in a weird blurred out way.
Yeah.
What, I forget what the name, like a Gaussian blur or whatever that is, where it just looks out of focus. I think that's really, that would be a cool thing that we could do. I think it would require us to have shaders working in all aspects of Kodi, and I don't think we have that.
Yeah.
But that would be another neat way to handle 4x3.
Yeah. Although I've never really been that bothered by having the borders.
Yeah.
And it's a weird thing because, I don't know, I consider myself really into watching videos and making things look nice. But then, like, my parents will get all bothered by it. They're like, why doesn't it fill up the screen? And I have to explain to them aspect ratios. Some people, they're like, they don't like that empty space.
They don't. That was why, do you remember, let's see, do you remember, like when DVDs first became a thing and they would crop movies from 2:1 to that 4:3 ratio and then put it on a DVD with the black bars on the side?
Yeah.
That was ridiculous. So they did that because they didn't like the black bars on the top and bottom, which is just the most absurd thing I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, you got your dogs?
Yeah, now the dogs are barking too. I'm obviously outside. Some stuff's going on inside, so people at home are probably wondering what the booming wind is. And now there's dogs as well.
I don't know about other people. I like your dogs. They seem fun. I kind of wish they were more in the stream.
A little dog adventure video.
Yeah.
Strap a GoPro cam onto one of them.
That would be cool. It'd be cool if we had an add-on that was just GoPro camera footage of animals.
Yeah. Like a little like a live control or something, a live stream of.
Yeah.
Go to all your animals.
Maybe a little ridiculous, but awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, back on topic. So the next thing on my list, I'm basically just going through the blog post. So if you're following along at home, you can watch the blog post and have a pretty good idea of what we're talking about. The next thing on my list is event logging, which I'll pull that up right now. Because it's, at least in Confluence here, it's kind of hidden. But it's a window, so there's no reason that updates to the skin couldn't make it a little bit more visible. So to get to it, you go to System, and then System again, and then down here under Logging, you click Show Event Log. And my event log is very boring. Let's see, I wonder if there's... Oh, level information, level warning. Yeah, just because I just started it, it's only got Kodi successfully started. The most boring event log on the planet. But that's not a big deal. So, do you want to... You probably know more about the event log than I do. Or do you?
I don't know. What do you know?
My understanding of event log is that it's eventually going to be handy for things like when you're scanning in movies. Does that...
Yeah. Well, pretty much anything that deals with notifications will become more useful, because notifications right now are kind of like a smoke signal in the sky. It only works if you happen to have saw it and were paying attention at that moment. So it works for both like scanning things in and basic system notifications, as well as specific notifications from like add-ons.
Yeah.
Like someone says, "Oh, one of your friends just wanted to share a movie rating with you," or something like that, and stuff like that, because now you can, if you missed a notification, you can go back and see that activity, as well as things that aren't notifications as well. Like there's other types of things we can log. Yeah. And we'll be able to filter out, so you can only see, if you just want to see stuff from one type of activity and stuff like that.
Right.
I think.
So the benefit here is that, it sounds like there are a lot of benefits. Like if you have an add-on that, for example, like gets a new video, it can send you a notification saying this new video has been added. Like, if, for example, let's say the KordKutters add-on, which some people may be watching this on, probably not, but maybe, the KordKutters add-on could send a notification saying we're live, and everyone could be like, "Oh my goodness, I better start watching right now."
Yeah.
Just like these these 11 live watchers are feeling, or were thinking when they first.
Did you see? We got 2 downvotes on our video right now. What the heck?
That's. Don't worry about it. The issue is that this link goes to just Kodi as a live, or excuse me, KordKutters live, which means that if people click the link, an hour later, they'll still go to this live video, and we won't be here anymore. So they'll be like, "Well, what the hell?" And then they'll downvote because we're not here anymore.
So like when it's showing nothing, they're like, "Uh-oh, I think."
Yeah, you're going a little fuzzy, but I think you might be back. Anyway, the audio's still there. But yeah, so don't worry about the downvotes.
I was like, "What? My soul has been crushed." Those 2 downvotes. I will find those people.
Yeah, that's right. Except they probably did that about a week ago, so maybe you have to find them then. So that's cool. So when you get a notification, you should be able to like see the whole list. I wonder. I assume then you'll be able to interact with the list. So like if there's notification saying something's live, you should be able to click it and go to the live thing. Or if it says this video didn't get added to the library, you should be able to click it and maybe it'll pull up an info page.
Yeah, stuff like that, because like before we didn't really have any like way to handle that, because it was kind of like it was just something on the screen. You couldn't go back and like now you could interact with it on a list and stuff like that.
Yeah. So so hopefully that'll gradually become more and more useful as time goes on. At the moment, it just says Kodi successfully started, and it's kind of hidden under logging, under system again. So hopefully at some point it gets added to like the home screen somewhere.
Yeah, like a scanner could add it. Like they could show like the last few items like on the background on the home screen or something like that, or show what things popped up, or what recordings on PVR had completed and stuff like that.
Oh, that would be really handy for PVR. Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
would be, and you could put them really like right next to, like the favorites button and the power button. Put them right
Hmm.
next to that. That would work. Also, side note, Isaiah says he's a proud upvote, checking in a few minutes before heading out. Thank you, Isaiah. You're the best. We appreciate you far more than everyone else who's not writing comments right now. Though those who are not writing comments, we also like, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
I pretty much just go on the internet all day and like downvote things as passive aggressive outlet. I complain about it, but I'm usually the one doing it. I might be one of the downvoters actually.
I don't. Oh man, I'm very opposite that. I'm one of those guys who, if I'm angry about something, a downvote isn't good enough. I need to like write my anger down somewhere.
They have to know your pain.
Yeah, they have to know exactly what I'm unhappy about. If this were like the 50s, I'd be that annoying guy who writes every week to the newspaper.
To the newspaper.
Yep, yep.
You used the word "damn" in your article. That's horrible.
that pisses me off. Damn it. All right. So next up, we have two that I feel like are kind of related. So I'm just going to say them both at the same time. One is split up skin settings, and the other is image resource add-ons. And the reason I think these are kind of similar is because they're very back-end things. They're not things that you're going to generally notice in terms of the GUI very much.
Yeah.
Beyond that, frankly, they're really not that similar. So split up skin settings, and this is me explaining what I understand from what somebody else understands. So my bad if I get this wrong. What happens, or what has happened in the past, is skin settings became part of user data, which means that if you at any point changed your user data or replaced it or got rid of it or something, then skin settings would also go away, which means that every time you tried to clear out your system, the skin would also get completely cleared out.
Yeah.
So what we've done is we've taken skin settings and put them in to the skin add-on. So now it works like every other add-on, where even if you delete your user data,
like your user data, actually, this add-on settings is still in the user data folder. So but your GUI settings, you could reset your GUI settings without hurting your skin settings.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So all in all, it's very handy, and you don't accidentally find yourself screwing things up even more than you meant to. And I'm guessing, does this? I actually don't know. Does this mean that in skin settings you can click something to default? Whatever that reset above settings to default. What is that? Does that change anything in there?
Probably not, because I mean, it's just the skin specific settings. So like when you go into where it's like more settings,
yeah,
for the skin, and I don't know if those have a default button.
It doesn't look like they do. Now we're just sounding like crazy old men who have no idea what's going on. I'm going to make some changes to that. Then I'm going to reset above settings to default. All right. And that turned on the RSS news feed. And let's see what happened to the skin settings. Nope, skin settings are still there. All right, so good. So that's nice. Let's turn off RSS feed again. That thing is horrible. All right, so that's one thing. The other thing is image resource add-ons. And I think this is a big deal. This is pretty handy. So up until now, skins have been required to ship with all of the artwork inside the skin. And any little change to the artwork meant a complete re-download of the skin, right?
Well, that and they couldn't use images from other skins. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
Is that they can share images. So it's like every skin, like even if you had the same icons, like for like some little notation about like audio formats, like the little Dolby symbol.
Right.
Like even if two skins both use those same graphics, they would each have to have their own copy of that graphic. Whereas now there can be like a single image add-on for like all those kind of images or weather images, things that don't really change with the theme or don't necessarily have to change with the theme.
Right. So all that artwork. And really, like, I mean, there's all kinds of things that can fit in that category. You could just have up and down buttons that are cross-theme compatible.
Yeah, or even backgrounds, which are pretty big.
Yeah. Oh, that would be very handy. Yeah, so lots of stuff.
Kind of like how already in version 15, sounds have been and are their own add-ons now. So if you have a GUI sound that you like, a little clicky noise from one skin, you can actually use it in any of the skins.
What?
It's one of those things where it's broken. It's now broken free from its confinement of just one skin. So.
That is cool. Is that true for Confluence too, or is Confluence all put together? So
no, you can do that.
You can use all the Confluence stuff in other skins now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very handy. So now skins, I mean, if they wanted to mostly use Confluence backgrounds and stuff, skins could be pretty small.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Like if all your theme was doing was changing, menu buttons and view types, and yeah, you could have a really lightweight,
Yeah. All right, so we have a couple comments, and actually we'll go into some other important changes, but those were kind of the things I wanted to highlight. We have a couple of comments, though. First, a pity you probably won't show a live example of 4-3 nonlinear stretch. Didn't I just show one?
I don't know.
Maybe they mean like an example of like live TV doing it. I think I could do that actually. I don't. Do I have the HD Home Run add-on working right now? Well, I'll check and see if I can do that next week. Yeah. M. Borges de Freitas. Wow, I really butchered that name. Yeah, I'll see if I can do that next week. HD Home Run. I mean, I have a ton of channels that are all 4x3 that I could show that in. So next week, we'll show some demos of that in action. I did show earlier in the stream an episode of Darkwing Duck doing it, but whatever. We can show all kinds of stuff that way. And then Raston says, "Will dual audio ever make it into the main branch?" I don't know. Dual audio is a Linux only thing, as far as I know.
From what I can remember of that thread, it's at least at the time that it started, it was considered way too massive of a hack to be included. But I think that might have changed since then, because now we have like the audio, what do you call them, digital signal processing add-ons, and other things that have different places now that they can hook into audio, and all that has been really tweaked a lot over time. Yeah. So I don't know if it's still true that it's too, because before it was like way too massive of like the way it worked was just like a nightmare, I guess. I mean, it worked, but it was kind of like a mountain of duct tape and string, equivalent in code. Yeah. Even though it worked, it was like no one wanted to maintain it, and but I don't know. It might be something that can be done better.
Yeah, and that's actually at some point we need to talk about the Google Summer of Code stuff. I've been holding off on that because I have one of the students has sent in all the stuff talking about all that they've done over the summer. The other two haven't yet, and they're not actually obliged to anymore. The project is over, so they don't actually have to send me stuff. So if they don't, then I'm going to start bugging their mentors because I really do want to talk about it. The the one who has sent stuff in though is the guy who has been working on all this audio stuff, and it sounds like what he's done this summer is nothing short of awesome. Like, especially for audiophiles out there, it's going to be amazing what he's managed to accomplish. So I guess keep an eye out for that, and at some point I'm going to write a blog post about this. We'll see when exactly. The other two Google Summer of Code projects also went pretty well. One was it used to be called Moonlight. I think it changed or something. The NVIDIA streaming thing. Oh, you got you muted there.
I just realized I was muted myself. It was called Greenlight originally, or Limelight. No, Limelight was called, and now it's called Moonlight. So Moonlight is the moon.
Yeah, and evidently that is working now. I don't know what the fear at the beginning was that there was going to be a lot of delay, like from the moment you hit the button to the moment something happens on the screen. It was going to be way too long to actually be usable. That was the fear. I don't know what the situation is there. I know that Garrett, who was the mentor, he's continuing to work on it, which means I assume that it's continuing to be worked on. And the other project that made it through to the end was, oh shoot, what was it? It was not Profiles. Profiles, unfortunately, they had family issues, so they had to withdraw halfway through, which really sucks, and I feel sorry for that guy. Hopefully, maybe he'll come back next year. The other one was transcoding, and as far as I understand it, transcoding also works.
Yeah.
The issue with transcoding is we have a pretty crazy system set up in terms of how video is handled altogether in Kodi. The chances of transcoding getting merged in anytime in the very near future is probably pretty low. Just because it has to fit within the currently existing architecture or whatever future architecture we use, and that will be, I don't know, that's a lot of work. So,
I thought it was kind of a different thing. Like, I thought it didn't really even touch our video player. Like, I thought it was just kind of like a separate converting process that happened when someone accessed, like, our web server.
It may be. I don't know. That was just my understanding near the beginning. I don't know if it's changed since then. And I think that's probably... I think all three of these projects are going to be major talking points during DevCon. So we'll probably... We'll get a lot better idea of what's going on at that point. And usually I live blog during DevCon, so for everybody out there, we'll probably talk about it. You should get the heads up at that point.
I'll actually post videos this year. I recorded videos last year of DevCon, and I forgot to post any of them online.
Nice.
So all the presentations, I would do it now, but by now, like, all those different presentations, like, those projects have since, like, new stuff has happened, so it's all old information.
Yep.
So,
fork sack, really? That can't possibly be right. For Kasesha, which is how I'm going to pronounce it. Is there any further news on RetroPlayer or whatever gaming integration Kodi will have? No, not really. I talked about it last week a little bit. I mean, this stuff happens sort of at a glacial pace. I mean, there's a lot of coding that has to happen. I do know last week NES was the only one that was really working. NES and Game Boy Advanced, and I didn't play any Game Boy Advanced stuff because I don't know. I don't have any nostalgia for that at all. But I do know that Garrett has said he thinks the issue with SNES, which was the other one I was trying to get working, is to do with, I forget. He told me at some point, but he's going to try to get a different player going on SNES. So hopefully that'll pop things. That'll get things popping on the SNES side, and slowly and gradually everything will work. Joe Nobody cursed at us. I don't know why. Probably something we said. So what else? I think that's kind of it for this week.
Well, I wanted to mention, we weren't sure if we should mention this because we're not sure if it's working yet.
Oh, yeah.
I really want to know what Joe Nobody's talking about.
Yeah, I got no idea.
um, Long Press is coming to version 16 to Jarvis. Did we mention that the codenamed Jarvis?
Yes.
After Iron Man.
Right. Yes, it's very cool. There was I don't know where it was. Some user submitted a picture of the logo that we have, or the splash screen that we have on a T-shirt. Man, that was cool. That was a really cool T-shirt idea.
Yeah, we should definitely do a Jarvis T-shirt with all the blueprints. I love any shirts.
Oh wait!
Look like.
It's not. I get it now. It's not
that's
for.
what you say.
Not for fork sake. It's for a much worse phrase.
That's what his name means.
Yes.
Okay.
Well done. Good job, Joe Nobody. Thank you. And likewise.
For all I knew, I did like a nip slip or something. I didn't know what he was talking about at first.
Yeah. I thought we were really angry about something. Anyway. Yeah. So yeah, long press. Let's talk about long press.
Here I've got. I don't know. I can't really see my my own image here. Okay, you can kind of see this is a Fire TV remote. This is a good example of a remote control that has very few buttons on it, and we have a new thing in version 16. I think it might be working in alpha too. I'm not entirely sure because we couldn't get it to work earlier. But the idea is you can have a separate button action for any button you're using by pressing and holding it. And that basically doubles your buttons for any given screen. Because at any different point in Kodi, your button can actually do something different. Like during the main interface, it's up, down, left, and right, but during video, you can skip around. But in addition to that, like, let's see, this guy, he does not have dedicated volume controls. Well, you could, like, press and hold up and also make volume controls without messing up the normal up action. Or I think the best example, though, is probably the Nexus player remote. Has, like, almost no buttons.
Yeah,
it's got like the directional buttons and
back, and then home. But all home does is take you back to the Android TV home, not Kodi home.
Yeah. So like now everyone will finally be able to get like a context menu on those remotes by pressing and holding select. It'll actually give you some real functionality out of those low button remotes, but even remotes with lots of buttons, there's a lot of potential with press and hold actions. You could do stuff like if you wanted to double up your volume button by pressing and holding down to toggle mute, or I don't know, if there's just some weird action that you just don't normally use and you don't want to dedicate an entire button to that, you could dedicate it to just pressing and holding a button. Yeah. So it's really cool. It's gonna change all our key maps and make things a lot more useful.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. Though, frankly, I'm mostly excited about the fact that you're going to be able to hold down OK and go to the context menu button. That's very handy. I've become a very religious user of the Android TV stuff, and the lack of a context menu button is so frustrating.
Yeah.
So I made earlier this week. I made that video about how to make Kodi a little bit more Netflixy, and I really like it. Like, I thought I was going to just switch back like immediately after that video, but there's a lot of stuff that's nice about that setup, especially like when I'm browsing YouTube videos in Kodi. A lot of times you can't really see what the description is at all. So when you click OK and you see the actual description for the YouTube video, that is nice. And it's like the whole description, not just a little blurb. Mm-hmm. That's very handy. I really like that. And the rest of the add-ons, they're also pretty cool. It was funny how many people came up afterwards and commented and were like, "Oh my God, how have I ever lived without the skip back feature?" Mm-hmm. That skip back feature is fantastic. Or the unpause, skip back, or whatever it is.
Yeah. I've actually started using that. Not like I've known about it. but I finally started using it now just to go back a couple of seconds if I paused it for if a minute, and then I'm like, oh, that's what he said.
Yep. And I actually had it installed. Like, I'd installed it. I think we talked about it in one of our talks, like the second or third episode or something. I forget when, a long time ago. And I installed it then and totally forgot about it. And so at some point, I was using another instance of Kodi besides the normal one I use. And I unpaused and it just restarted. And I was like, wait, that's not how it's supposed to be. This is wrong. So I'd gotten so used to it that it was just like, this is how it is now. Yeah.
It's one of those things where I honestly would not mind seeing that like built in. It's that kind of usefulness, especially the fast forward and rewinding options on there. Where if you're fast forwarding really fast, there's an option in there that lets you jump back. Because when you're going at like 32 times fast forwarding, you're probably not going to be precision when you press resume.
Yeah.
So, and that's pretty standard on like DVRs. On standalone DVRs,
like where it automatically jumps back a few seconds.
Yeah, because it's anticipating your reaction time. So by the time you see where you want to stop, and you press like resume, like another half second has already passed or something, you know. So it compensates. You can make it fairly accurate then.
Yeah. Yeah. So I agree. I would love to see that as default. I'd also love to see. I think. I've already forgotten what it's called. The thing it's a little Netflixy where at the end of the episode it automatically starts playing the next one, or it gives you the option.
We've got a couple add-ons that do that now. Yeah. One that does it after the video has completely stopped playing, and one, a different one will also do it a set number of seconds before the video stops playing. So you can see it while the credits of one episode starts rolling. It'll give you the option to jump into the next episode.
Yeah, and that's the one I have is, let's see, what was it called? Oh, Next Up Service Notification. That's the one I installed. Yeah. And it's really...
One of the...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go on.
Oh, okay,
I was going to say that one of the best things about it is it's got kind of a... Which is another thing that's just like what Netflix does, is that after a few episodes, it asks if you're actually still watching. So if you fall asleep, you won't like totally lose your place.
Yeah. So. Yeah, after 3. And yeah, you can evidently... Here, I have that up now. Hang on, let me flip over to it. So, Next Up Service Notification under Configure. I totally blew this. I didn't understand what... let's see. Number of episodes before still watching query. That's what the setting is called. I didn't understand what that was, so I just assumed it meant nothing important. I didn't have any idea. But evidently you can change that to... It's 3 automatically, but you can change it to 5 or 2 or whatever. And it'll turn it off. So yeah, super handy. The one thing I don't like about it, I don't think... I'd like it to show up a little bit more information. Like, I'd like for there to be a nice box that kind of covers up the screen in that area, and then maybe has like info about the next episode or the title of the next episode, you know, stuff like that.
I thought it did.
Well, maybe another one does. This one, all it does is show... Here, let me... Just to make sure I'm not talking out of my butt. I'm going to actually start an episode and see what it says. Ugh. Skip. Skip a little bit more. Okay. Oh, it does. So it says up next, episode 6, the Middle Earth Paradigm. So I guess it does, but I'd like for it to be a little more arty. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it.
I think you can skin it. I think it's a little limited right now because you have to like manually change the actual add-on. But I think if you really want to get into it, I think some of the people were changing it to match their current skins.
Oh, really?
And like being able to expand it, you know, so it's a little more space and they can see the information and stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I think that it would be really nice if some of that was sort of taken in and made part of it. Because, I don't know. It looks, I mean, it works right now, but it's just not super pretty.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why, like, we like making things modular and like making things as add-ons because
Yep.
they can be independently updated. But this is one of those things that I would like to see like kind of built in, because then it could be like you wouldn't have to worry about manually modifying it. Each skinner could just, they could make their next up window look however they felt.
Oh, that's
matched.
a good point. And it could fit the skin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would be nice. All right, yeah. So obviously, all the things that I showed off earlier, we need to make part of the actual default. That's just how it is. I'm sorry, everyone.
We'll have to fight for that at DevCon.
Let's see. For Fork's sake, he actually prefers less info. He just wants the play pause, that's fair. What would be nice would be if it were built in, you could do a couple things like that. Like you could say, I mean, you could have a number of different views where maybe it's just the title and a play button, or it could be like a whole thing, like the clip, or not the clip, but like the picture of the next episode, the thumbnail, I mean, and the description and whatever. So you could do all kinds of stuff. But that would all be cool. GUI to edit key press settings. There is an add-on that does that, isn't there?
Yeah, there's an add-on, but it's not. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And it's not really graphically based. But that's one of the things we're really hoping to take out of the Retro Player project.
Yeah.
Is like, hopefully, because it's going to have a graphical interface showing you a controller and changing what it does. And that's something that would be really cool to be able to reuse for remote controls for non-game things. Because it would be really nice to have a graphical way, like some representation of your remote, be able to select the button and then change what it does. Because we have an add-on that works really well, but it's kind of you have to kind of think about it. Like, you first select like the action, I think, and then you select the button, so it's a little backwards.
Yeah.
So you find play, and then you press the button you want to assign to play. You don't see like a representation of the button and then change what it does. So it's a little bit of you have to kind of change your thinking when you set it up. But some kind of the more of our settings, I think we have like an actual nice intuitive interface for, like, in the less manually editing of XML files, I think is the better. I think everyone agrees with that. It's just it's a lot of work to do that, to not only add the graphical interface, but to also make it intuitive and not bloated.
Yeah, that was a big problem for Garrett when he was putting together that input stuff. Man, he spent 6 months just trying to figure out how to make that work. Yeah, because it's hard. It's hard to do a good usable interface like that.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately, to some extent, he decided he just wouldn't even like at some point he wanted to make it where you don't have to do that. Like, he would get enough information from people doing it already, that we could have kind of a default based on what people want, what people preferred.
Yeah, kind of a crowdsourced input map.
Yeah, pretty much. Which, man, that's a great idea. I would love that. Because right now, like, for example, the Xbox, when we redid the Xbox 360 remote, Shire Toko and myself, essentially how we decided what the buttons were was me saying, here's what the buttons need to be. And I just purely was like, this is what I think I would like. Screw everybody else. And that was sort of, that's what we ended up with. Which is fine, but it's not, I don't know. It would be nice if there were a better way to make it so everyone could kind of universally agree this is a nice way to have a setup of a controller.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think, so we covered long press. We covered pretty much everything in the first two alphas. There are a few other things in Windows. There's better refresh rate switching. I don't know. Series, so one of the release notes for Alpha 2 was series recording added to PVR. But I didn't know how to make that work, so I wasn't able to write up anything about it.
It depends on the backend you use. It requires a backend that supports it. And I think it's improved series recording. I think we've had it before. And I think it's just, I could be wrong on that. But it's, like, because when you choose to record something on your typical commercial DVR, it'll ask you, do you want to record just this once, or do you want to record all new episodes, or do you want to record everything possible? So it should hopefully be a little more robust like that in Kodi.
Yeah,
I think, if I understood correctly.
Well, hopefully. Okay, and I think that does it. I think that's all we've got to talk about this week.
Yeah, I've got one little cool thing. Okay. I did post a picture of this on the internet, but here is my my Raspberry Pi for the little Game Boy project I've done.
Yeah.
I've actually cut the PCB down. It's a lot less of it. I don't know if you can see that. It still works, surprisingly.
That's crazy. So all of the USBs are gone? And the Ethernet?
They're gone. The pins are there. So I'll solder, I'm going to solder like a Wi-Fi adapter directly to the pins.
Oh, wow.
And it'll still work. But yeah, I'll have to solder to the audio because the AV connector's gone now. All the GPIO pins have been filed down. And part of the PCB itself it's basically like a homemade Model A. Like the Model A is more square. But it surprisingly still works. There's a lot of projects out there like that where they needed every millimeter. And I was I read that it would work, but I was still really reluctant to do it. And it's just kind of crazy how far you can go to make these portable. And eventually, maybe we'll have Retro Player running on it too.
That would be cool. Joe Nobody is giving you the clap. Good job. Not the medical condition, but
I was
clap.
like, wow, wait. What?
Cheers. Good job.
Oh, like an actual clap. Okay.
Yes.
For a moment there, I was scared. I was like, do you know something I don't
know? And also, for Fork's sake, asks any development on mobile phone remotes. He uses Yahtzee. Actually, I'm going to assume for Fork's sake is a girl, because that seems unlikely enough. She uses Yahtzee, and it's great, but where's the official remote at? We have an official remote. It's called Core, K-O-R-E. You can find it all over the place. If you go to the Kodi website, I mean, obviously you can find it in Google Play, but if you go to the Kodi website under About and scroll down to the bottom, under Other Software, it lists Core and the official Kodi remote for iOS. So that covers both Android and iOS for our official remotes. I haven't used Yahtzee lately, so I don't know how the two compare, Core and Yahtzee.
Yahtzee's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's all right. Someone was asking, on Reddit or something, they were like, why didn't you guys use Yahtzee? And the only reason, or I should say the big reason, not necessarily the only reason, but the big reason is it's not open source, and it's got some situations there. So it's not that it's a bad remote. It's just that for us officially, we do open source stuff. So that's why, because not only is that something we like to do, but it also means that anyone else who wants to make a remote can go and use our remote as a foundation and just build off of that.
Right. Yes. Some people are saying other things about Yahtzee. It can do voice command. All right, that's pretty cool. Actually, do you know the iOS remote can also do voice command stuff? Not exactly, but if you're doing a search in YouTube, it can use the regular iOS keyboard. So you can talk to that keyboard.
Dictation. Yeah.
Yeah. I discovered that, I forget, recently, because for some reason I was lazy and I decided I wanted to talk instead of type.
I think someone at one point had Siri actually controlling Kodi, but I think that might have changed. And he had to be jailbroken too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're starting to run long. We're at about 50 minutes now, so I think maybe it's time to say goodbye for this week.
Oh, definitely. I'm outside and I'm on my battery, and it's at like 12%.
Oh, other good reasons to call it a day. Yes. Next week, I don't know. Once again, I have no idea what we're going to talk about, but we'll probably figure it out when the time comes. Yes, so that sounds good. Okay, so thanks everybody for watching. Thanks especially to all the guys who participated in the conversation. Alec McGregory especially for saying sausage and stuff. There will be the SAG for life, bruh. I don't know what that means, but it sounds good. And thanks, Ned, for hanging out. All right, see you later.
Thanks for watching.